some of you are going to object that I'm comparing this to a much more expensive Hero Session 5, which is a very valid concern, but it's really the gold standard in these little cube cameras, and there's really nothing that can even touch the quality of the Session 5. It really only gets better when you move up to the Hero 7 or 8, but yeah, I know that the Caddx is much, much cheaper. I can appreciate that, and I'm going to review it as such. And so let's just first talk about the shape of the thing. It is the same size as a GoPro, except that the depth of it is 1 millimeter deeper, so it doesn't quite fit into all the GoPro cases that you might have, which, in my opinion, is a really notable fail on Caddx's part. I mean, the one thing that it was so useful for is that you just fit it into a GoPro case on existing cases that you might have, or you might upgrade to a GoPro in the future. However, you can't really upgrade to a Session anymore, because when the Session first came out, I think it was like $300, and then it got discontinued and went down to like $100, and you could find it on eBay for like $85 at some point. But at this point, it's totally sold out, and you can't find it anywhere. There are some people on eBay selling these things for $350, $400 for a brand new original Session 5, which in my opinion is kind of bonkers. But it also shows the value of the Session 5 and how great of a little camera it was, and which is also the reason why a lot of these Chinese companies are trying to replicate the magic of the GoPro. Now, this is definitely not an attempt at replicating the magic of the GoPro. And right up front, I'll tell you that, I mean, this is obvious, I don't recommend this camera, but it's not because it's a bad camera, it's because of a couple of issues that, in my opinion, ruin the value proposition. Now, this is a $40 camera, which is mind-blowingly cheap for what it is. It's obviously not the same quality as a GoPro. You saw that up front at the beginning, but it's also not absolutely horrendous quality. The quality's as long as you don't blow it up to a full screen. If you're just using it for Instagram, sure, the depth of the color depth is not that great, and the dynamic range is not that fantastic. The resolution is only 1080, and it actually looks less than 1080 to me, and it's a little grainy and over sharpened. Sure, it's not the best footage, but it's totally suitable for Instagram. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to tell a huge difference between the Caddx Dolphin and a GoPro. I mean, at a glance, they would look very, very similar. The things to note about the video quality is really just that the field of view is a little bit narrower than the GoPro, which isn't a huge deal, especially when it's a $40 camera. That's not what ruins this camera for me, surprisingly. It's not the quality at all. It's actually the fact that the darn thing doesn't work properly, which, what I have here is a production model Caddx Dolphin. It's not something that Caddx sent me. They actually don't like me at all at this point, because I keep telling everybody that they have quality control issues, which the reason why I can't recommend this camera is, again, because of quality control issues. One minor thing and one pretty darn major thing. The minor thing is that, all right, so my lens is not centered on here, and it's not really a big deal. It's still pointing in generally the right direction, but I'll get to the next quality control issue in a second. To turn this thing on, you have to hold the power button, and then the green light turns on solid, and then you got to push the power button, and then the green light kind of stumbles on its way to start blinking, and it doesn't make any noises. At least I couldn't get it to make any noises, and the green light is really hard to see unless you're looking at it directly on. As you can see, as I turn it, you can't really see the green light. It's not like a GoPro that it has like 3 blindingly bright red lights blinking all over it to tell you that it's recording. So other than that, it's totally fine. The use of the camera itself, I mean, I would have loved the fact that you could just push the button and it turns on and starts recording. There are no other controls. It's nice that they put a reset button, because they probably recognize that the thing is probably going to freeze along the way at some point. It has a micro USB, not a USB-C, which is totally fine. It takes micro SD. It's got this little rubber thing on the back. No problem with the form factor and all that stuff. Totally works fine in that respect. Where it does totally fall flat on its face is the actual recording. And I'm going to run more video here. Every couple of seconds, the thing just stutters and skips ahead. It doesn't record audio in a fluid motion. It like stops recording audio. The audio is just horrendously bad also. It also doesn't record the video in a fluid motion. It stutters all over the place. I have no clue why. I've tried it with 4 different memory cards, 4 different kinds of memory cards, small, big, from 8 gigabyte, 16 gigabyte, 32 gigabyte, 64 gigabyte, 3 different brands. I mean, I tried all these memory cards, and they all did the same thing. So this camera essentially just does not record fluidly at all. I mean, if they didn't just push the record button and look at the footage to see that their software or whatever was not recording properly, it's kind of hard to recommend this camera regardless of the price. I mean, I don't care if it's $40 or something. The fact that it doesn't record fluidly for more than a couple seconds at a time sort of ruins the value proposition of this camera. Now, maybe I just got a defective unit. I happen to be prone to getting defective Caddx units. I mean, more than half of the things I've gotten from Caddx have been defective in some way, except for the Tarsier. The Tarsier has been, so far, 100% success rate. It's just been 100% failure in user experience, which, again, this camera has a failure in user experience as well. Not only is it annoying to turn the thing on and figure out if it's recording, actually I don't even know, oh yeah, you can't turn it off either, you just have to wait for it to turn off on its own. Thankfully it does hold a charge, however, it's been sitting overnight and it still turns on and records, that's great. You can't change the settings on the camera, not like there are settings, there really are no settings on the camera, but if you wanted to change the settings on the camera or use your phone as a viewfinder, you gotta download the app, but then you need to give it a login from your Facebook or WeChat, or you can give it your phone number, or it wants your information basically. It's trying to get your information out of you in order to use the app. I wasn't able to find a way around giving it my information, and I finally gave it my WeChat so that I could access the app, just to find out that there really are no settings on this thing. It just records in 1080p 30 and it just gives you whatever it gives you. So if it worked like it was supposed to work, I would give it a good review. I mean, it's a $40 camera. I'm not expecting magic for $40. And I think if it worked the way it was intended, sure, I would like it to have a little bit wider field of view, but it's suitable for use the way it is, as long as it actually recorded. And forget audio. Who cares about audio even? If it just recorded video without stutters and skips, that would be great. Once again, Caddx product falling on their face due to quality control and user experience. I just cut this short yet again because I just rambled on and on about, I don't think Caddx is a bad company. I just think that they really need to take a close look at their quality control and really consider trying to improve things. If they have to make things a couple dollars more expensive for products that work, I mean, this camera would be awesome at $45 too if it actually worked. So yeah. Take care, floss your teeth. I'm not trying to say bad things about anything. It's just been here and I've been holding off reviewing it because it's not fantastic. Take care. Bye-bye.